back to USC and just the speculation concerning the connection between Mario Williams and Caleb. So one of about 4 things happened here. Either the connection between the two and the assumed destination being the same and the decision being the same between the two was a bit premature, although I think that's been somewhat stated by either one or both. So I don't think anyone was jumping to conclusions completely there. Or Mario Williams believed that he was going to get the announcement by Caleb as well, and just went ahead and did it, and was expecting Caleb to be right there with him. I can share a personal story in making my college decision, and a buddy thought that I was going somewhere else, and I put in my deposit and I was headed somewhere else, and he made a college decision thinking that we were going as a tandem somewhere else. So that happens at times. Or certainly Caleb had a second thought about weighing his options and possibly considering somewhere else at the last minute. So who knows what's going to happen? We've made the assumptions about Caleb Williams, but it's not been determined yet.
And I would just say for myself, I assumed he was going to stay at Oklahoma, given that he was attending OU basketball games in early December. He appeared on an OU podcast. And, of course, most of all, Mark, as you know well, he played in the Alamo Bowl, played well, thrashed Oregon. Like, if you were going to transfer, would you do that? Like, that's not the normal path, for making a transfer decision. So Caleb Williams has already confounded me. I'll admit that much. So maybe he has another ace up his sleeve in that regard.
And even in the rare situation when an Emory Jones played as a transfer quarterback in the transfer portal, he needed to put that on his resume after a pretty subpar 2021 season. Caleb Williams' stock was through the roof. He didn't need to risk injury or risk a poor performance in any such way. 21 TDs, 4 picks. He had a tremendous season after he took over at quarterback from Spencer Rattler. I got Matt Zemek on the line from Trojans Wire. Please join him in his work right there. The rest of the crew there at Trojans Wire covering USC football. Of course, we would ask that you would hit the like button, subscribe right here at the Voice of College Football, USC. It appears as though possibly you're hearing that Chip Kelly is making an addition to the coaching staff that has its connection to USC as well.
Yeah, reports have surfaced that in the attempt to replace Justin Fry, who went to Ohio State, he was the offensive line coach. That was UCLA's best position group too. In the attempt to replace Fry, reports have surfaced the past 24 hours that Chip Kelly is expected. He hasn't done it, but he's expected to hire Tim Drevno. Now, guess who worked for Clay Helton and USC in 2020? Tim Drevno, and of course, he was fired. Not just because results weren't that great, but also because he wasn't an air raid offensive line coach. And they needed to bring in Clay McGuire, who had experience teaching the air raid from having worked under Mike Leach at Washington State. And you saw USC's offensive line begin to improve later in the season. Not so much the first month and a half, but by November, that offensive line had begun to develop as a run blocking unit. And you never saw that kind of improvement under Tim Drevno. So USC fans who are already happy that Chip Kelly is staying at UCLA, having inked a new 4-year deal last Friday, now they're seeing Tim Drevno as the offensive line coach after failing for Clay Helton. UCLA fans were lording it over USC fans, and of course, as they would, as anyone would in a rivalry, that USC just wasn't moving on from Clay Helton, sticking with mediocrity. And now USC fans have Lincoln Riley, and they're looking across the way at Westwood in Los Angeles, and they're saying, Chip Kelly as head coach, Tim Drevno as offensive line coach. It's good to be the king again in Los Angeles, baby.